Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Good morning. I believe that God has kept you and preserved your lives. I know that's how I always begin, because I have a lot of faith in the God we serve, that He is able to keep us from falling and to present us faultless before our God and our Father. Well, I believe that you have had a beautiful morning, and we are excited again as Elevate TV to come to you this wonderful, wonderful time to have another great conversation that will have an impact on you as a believer and to the body of Christ. My name is Apostle John Wesley, and I'm your host today on your Friday morning digest show. Kindly go and share the stream. Let everybody know that we're having amazing conversations today. Those of you that are watching us on Elevate TV, we truly appreciate your patronage and your continued support. Keep it locked on Elevate TV. Those of you that are watching us on YouTube and on Facebook, you know how we do it. Share the stream. Invite your friends. Let them know we're having a conversation. Now listen up. I think 2 weeks ago, we had a conversation that targeted the young people. We were talking about weddings and talking about, weddings at the cost of marriage. An amazing conversation that we had last week that was impactful. Today we are back to have a conversation for the married people. We didn't forget you. And it's not just for the married people, but as well even for the singles as you prepare yourself to get married. And none other to explain to us this wonderful, wonderful conversation than our good friend, the bishop himself from BCCI Kitui. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited once again to be with you, and for the work you are doing. I tell you, you are
Amen.
impacting lives, and we thank God that
Amen.
it's not in vain. And we thank God for Elevate TV, for the good work that they are doing, Apostle Jim and Pastor Sund and the whole entire Elevate TV, because I believe one of the main reasons that we will be remembered for is not for the buildings we did, it's not for the cars we drove, but by the impact we caused on the humanity.
Amen.
So every time we are touching lives of people, I tell you, heaven claps and says, this is it, and this is what we should live for. So welcome so much for this good time we are going to have together on dealing with the conflicts in marriage. And I believe by the grace of God, we will help somebody, we will help our family.
Amen.
And the name of the Lord shall be praised.
Amen.
Amen.
Bishop David Malombe is his name, and he is always a blessing. Thank you so much for coming in and accepting to be used of God, even as we have this very, very important conversation. Well, I know you're wondering what we're talking about. We're talking about conflict resolution in marriage. Conflict resolution in marriage. And one of the things that has confounded this generation, and I believe even the previous generations, is that they do not know, or they have not yet been taught properly on how to handle conflict within the context of marriage. And this morning, we're going to try and really, really dig this matter out and ask ourselves these pertinent questions on conflict resolution. Well, Bishop, do you want to begin maybe by just laying a foundational conversation to create better understanding? Why is it that we need to harness or to know the skills of conflict resolution? And really, why are we talking about conflict in marriage?
Wow. One of the things that we need to agree and to work out is, we usually say when you are born, you don't choose where you are born. You don't choose who got you born, and when you die, you don't say, I'm about to die, or I will die. So the main key thing that you are given an opportunity to do in life is to marry, is to choose who to marry. Either people will choose for you, but you have to make the decision and say, this is the guy, this is the lady I'm going to live the rest of my life with. And many times when people are getting to marriage, sometimes they do not know what they are getting into. And one of the things that they will encounter immediately they get married, or even before, during courtship, during engagement, courting, is conflict.
Yes.
Conflicts begin to happen. Because before you got married, you thought you were getting married to an angel, to somebody who will never wrong you, somebody who will never have issue with. You never thought that you can disagree. You never thought that you can throw what they call tantrums. But the moment you get into it, you begin to find there are issues that they need to be sorted out. There are disagreements, there are disputes, there are some of them you do not understand why they have come up. And one of the major reasons why people are living together but they are not together is because they have never been able to sort conflicts. And there are so many, especially the new generation, who are not ready to face conflicts. They are not ready to face disputes. Anytime something shows up that needs to be discussed, to be sorted out, they try to just overlook it and they don't want to discuss it, and they feel like if we talk it, maybe I'll be known so much and it may mess me up. So we have to look at it and say there is a very good reason why we should solve and resolve conflict. And one of them is it brings you to a place whereby you are able to be free. Anytime you cannot deal with the conflicts, you are you are like in a jail. You are in a prison, because there are things that are disturbing you. I do not know. You don't know what should I do. How do I come out of it? And many people today in marriage, they are living a life of no joy, of no hope, because they have failed to face the real problem.
So, Bishop, you're saying conflict comes to everyone? Even the Holy Ghost-filled brother, the brother speaking in tongues, the prophet.
I'm telling you, and the apostles. Do you know there are people...
Even the apostles?
Yeah, do you know there are people try to sort out their differences in the pulpit? Others, in the presence of the neighbors, they begin to talk issues because they are neighbor. Conflicts are everywhere. Conflicts are everywhere, even in the family setup. They are everywhere. I have been married for the last 27 years, and I will tell you the truth, that conflicts are there. But the good news is conflicts, they come to make you better.
Amen.
Yeah. You have to look at it from the positive side of it, that anytime you conflict, it is a sign that you are not the same. You see, marriage, when we are saying people are marrying, we are talking of two different people from different backgrounds, from different personalities, and so many things. And those people to come to be together, that is why the Bible says a man shall leave his father and mother and shall cleave. That word cleave, it is pursue with all energy. And whatever you are pursuing with all energy, it means there will be conflicts.
Okay.
There will be differences. And if you are not careful, if you think marriage is a place where you just enter, no questions, nothing, you're not ready for it. So for you to become one, that energy, you'll use a lot of energy. You'll have to understand your partner. And as you continue, you will discover conflict becomes so key. If you do not know how to resolve the conflict, then you can lose your marriage.
Yeah.
And there are people who have lost their marriage, not because their partners were bad, but because they never knew how to deal with conflict in marriage.
You can say that again.
Yeah.
You can say that again.
It's very true, because many people have lost their marriage, not because their partners were bad, but because they were unable to deal with the conflict. Yeah. So that is why I believe every marriage should go through serious counseling and be educated on how to deal with the conflict. Because if you don't know how to deal with the conflict, you can be successful in the pulpit, you can be successful in the business, but be a failure in your marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is why we usually say don't sacrifice your marriage in the platform of success, so that you are so successful elsewhere, but you have been unable to deal with the conflict in your marriage, and at the end of the day, you lose it.
Absolutely.
But the moment you understand how to deal with the conflict, you begin to enjoy. Because what happens, conflict begins to open you up. Every time you begin to deal with the conflict, it begins to make you to understand your partner better. And how sweet it is when you have a marriage whereby you understand your partner. So that people outside, they will wonder, how do you stay with that man? It's not how you stay with that man. It's because you have understood how to deal with him, how to deal with her. And that is very crucial. Marriage is the most beautiful thing that God created. And if it is lived well, you can enjoy it all the days of your life. But the major issue in marriage is dealing with the conflict.
Dealing with conflicts.
Yes.
I love that. And I love that you talk about the issue of every person before they get married must be equipped
Yes.
in premarital counseling on how to handle conflict. Now you introduce that very important aspect. Bishop, do you believe there is a way to handle conflict or there's a way not to handle conflict? What are some of those skills that we can help our brothers and sisters watching, either married or not, that they need to harness, they need to learn, so that they can become good conflict handlers?
Yes.
And resolvers.
I tell you. Let me say, this can be so applicable for people who are getting married.
Yes.
All who have just married recently. But people who have been in marriage for long, it may really need a lot of work on it.
Yeah.
And I begin by saying the first place you begin when you are dealing with marriage is your ability to open up.
Okay.
There are many people who are closed. They are married, but they are very closed to their spouses. You find that person can open up to a neighbor, to a workmate, to people outside there. But to their spouse, they fear to open up. They fear to say what is true. When I hurt you, when I do you wrong, you fear to tell me you have hurt me, you have stepped on me.
Yeah.
So you find lack of openness can cause things that should have not erupted to be like a bombshell to happen. Because if today I wrong you, maybe I have removed my socks and I have thrown it anyhow. You don't like it, you keep quiet about it. Tomorrow I do something else. What will happen at the end of the day, that conflict, that disagreement, those situations will continue heaping up in you. And one day you will burst out. One day the velocity, the speed of the things that your partner is doing to you and you're not saying can become too fast that at the end of the day, you begin to find yourself having high blood pressure and fighting. And the partner will wonder, why did you keep quiet with this? We should have sorted it out from the word go. So the first place that when you get married, you need to, even before you get married, is to be yourself, to open up.
To open up.
Yes.
Let me just ask a question there. Opening up. A lot of people that are closed defend themselves and they say, it's my personality or my personality type does not allow me to open up.
Yes.
What is your response to that kind of reasoning? Because I find that so many people will say, but me was yongei, I am a sanguine or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your response?
When I was in primary school,
yes,
I was told, practice makes perfect. In this life, never hide yourself in, I was not born to this. There are people, because of training, they can become something they never thought to be. And when it comes to marriage, I will tell you the truth, silence is one of the most killers of marriage. Just because somebody is pretending, I don't talk, I don't speak. So what you need to do is you begin somewhere. You begin somewhere. Say something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Begin to say something. Because marriage, if you are going to do it, you live for the other. And you discover that the moment you begin to open up, what happens is, if you are not used for opening up, if you are not used for people being so open to you, with the time you get used and you begin to discover, wow, kumbe this thing works. That if I'm able to come and tell you, my friend, pray for me. My life is not going on well. My friend, do this. Sometimes I get bitter over small things.
Yeah.
Because when you are opening up, you don't begin by blaming your partner. You begin by involving yourself in the whole thing. You can say like, you know, I don't like this situation. I don't like the way you answered me in the public. I don't like the way you treated me. I don't like the jokes you made before so and so. I don't like. You begin by putting yourself in that situation. But when you begin it by blaming, why do you behave like this? Why did you talk like that? Why did you react like that before so and so? You think I was happy about it. The moment you take it to that stage, that conflict may not be sorted because the person does not take it as your situation. It is you who is being hurt. He will take it as if this person is blaming me.
Yes.
And when you blame somebody, the reaction will be defense.
Absolutely.
When you are sorting the conflict, you don't sort it from the platform of defense. You sort it from the platform of understanding.
Absolutely.
And that is why opening up makes it so easy, because your partner now begins to understand that I don't live for myself, I am living for and if my friend does not like it, I should not like it. If it is hurting him, I should not do things that will hurt him. And at the end of the day, the understanding comes in. And the moment the understanding comes in, then the conflict issue begins to be sorted out.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we come into that space with number one, the attitude of opening up.
Yes.
And in opening up, you don't blame or accuse your partner.
Yes.
You put yourself in the situation and try to understand both perspectives. That's powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, I am with Bishop David Malombe. We're talking about conflict resolution in marriage. Keep typing away. Please let us know where you're watching us from. And I see all of you here that are engaged, and truly, truly, we appreciate the fact that you are following the conversation. Share this stream with your friends who are married and even those who are not yet married. The conversation is getting better. So, Bishop, you're saying that the word is I, not you.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't begin a conversation with you did. You don't begin
a conflict solution with the blaming. You begin by being honest. I am the one. You may like it, but me, I don't like it. You get the whole thing?
Yes.
In other words, what you are saying is we are in this relationship to stay. We are in this marriage to stay. And there are things that, according to me, they are not good. And I am in a position of being able to honestly open up to you, because the most key thing in conflict is not in competition. We usually say marriage, you don't compete. You do not look for the flaws of your partner, so that at the end of the day, because he accused you today, you are looking for something to accuse him tomorrow. We have to have come to marriage with a mind like, I'm here forever. Till death do us part.
Yes.
You know, all till Jesus comes again. So if you have made up your mind that this man, regardless of the flaws, regardless of how weak or where he comes from, this is my man to live with, then conflict becomes so key, because you don't want to live in a marriage whereby you are complaining all the time, whereby you are not happy. Marriage should be a place of joy, happiness, of excitement, of really saying, I can do it. So openness and honest becomes very key.
Yes.
And then when you are sorting it out, don't sort it out from the place of blame and accusation. Sort it from the place of, I want him to understand. And that is why the next place is communication becomes so key, because there are many people who do not know how to communicate, or they do not know how to express themselves, or they do not know how to make the healthy communication.
Yes.
Because some of the communication that messes the conflict resolution is very abusive.
Yes.
You find somebody, the way he's talking to his spouse, there's no decorum. He can be good to other people, but he's not good to his partner. And at the end of the day, the communication, instead of solving the conflict, it becomes more hurtful. And it makes people to part more. So your communication is very key on handling conflict, because your communication can either destroy the whole marriage or can make the whole marriage to work for better. So it's very key how you communicate. And health communication is whereby you are geared to make sure that your partner understands what you are saying, the spirit behind what you are saying. You're not just there as a prefect or as a monitor. You are there to make sure that this marriage you are in is going to work for the rest of your life.
I love that. I love that. So and I like the term you're using, partner. Yes. That even in conflict,
yes,
your spouse remains your partner.
Yes.
They don't become your opponent.
Yes.
That's amazing. That you have to keep that mindset. So I'm communicating with my partner, not my opponent.
Yes.
That's powerful.
And we are walking on the same direction.
Yes.
We are not going on a different direction. You know? Some of these things, Apostle, they must be intentional.
Yes.
Marriage works by your mindset. What you think about your partner determines how far you'll go with him. What you think about your partner determines how far you go with him.
That's powerful.
And thinking is free. Nobody will force you to think good or bad.
Yes.
It is you to determine whether the partner is good or is bad. It is your responsibility to tell your mind what to think, to tell your will what to decide, and to tell your emotions what to feel. Somebody can be so abusive and what have you, but your mind, if it is said that this guy is my man, this lady is my woman, regardless of their behavior, you are thinking has the ability to change the behavior of that person, because our thinking will determine how we deal with our conflict.
Wow.
You see, Apostle, some of us, the way we behave it's not our wish. It's our background. It's how we have been raised. There are people who have been raised like soldiers, askari, KDF. I mean, so you get married to such a person, and the way he's behaving, the way he talks, the way he does things is like a KDF. So if you do not understand him, the conflict will be too much. So you have to understand whom I married. There are other people who are married who are just a yes person. Yes person. Even when things are tough, she cannot be able to say no. So such a people, if you are married to such a person, you have to know, how do I help this person at the end of the day to open up to me? Because there are people who will never speak, but you, as a good conflict resolver, you must see, if you find your wife is not happy and what have you, you need to sit and help her to talk, help her to communicate, help her to say it from the heart. This is it. You know, one of the things I've been training my children is open up. Yeah. Say it. Don't just tell me, tomorrow, you know, I'll be going so and such and such a place. The question is, what do you want? Don't just tell me, I'll go such and. Tell me, tomorrow I have an event and I need 5,000 for that event. Is it possible to get the money? Now, in conflict solution, you find there are many people, they are hurt, very hurt, but they cannot confront their spouses because their nature is, if I tell him the truth, he may get mad with me. If I tell her the truth, she may run away from me. We have a preconceived ideas that our openness to our spouses will destroy the reality. But one of the things I have learned from the scriptures, truth will make you free.
Truth will make you free.
Will make you free.
And I love what you're saying, Bishop, that, you know, what you think about your spouse, your partner, determines how far you go with them. That preconceived ideas or thoughts can be an enemy to conflict, or they can help you resolve conflict.
They have been enemies to conflict.
Wow.
And they have been solutions to conflict.
Yes.
Yeah. Because if your mind is clean, I'm telling you, your wife or your husband will catch up with you.
Na umesema we understand those who have been brought up like KD.
I'm telling you. So it is your choice, you know.
I know, you know, one of our friends tells us that they were never taught how to give gifts.
Yes.
To anybody. So
yeah. Even they never celebrated their birthdays. You know, all that. So if you are with such a person,
yes,
and you do not understand those things,
yes,
your conflict will continue. You will continue being hurt. You will continue being things not working. You start thinking, what kind of man did I marry? And you see, Apostle, the greatest enemy that destroys conflict is our dream partners. There are people who are married, but they are not married to the real person. They are always having their dream partners.
Yeah.
So when they are dealing with the conflicts, they are dealing with, this person should have known this. So at the end of the day, you hear somebody saying, she's just pretending. He is just pretending. And you lose your marriage because you want your wife to be like so-and-so. You want your husband to be like so-and-so. And you hear some people say, why don't you be like so-and-so? They didn't grow up together.
Yes.
They never went to the same school. Their parents are not the same. The
yes,
DNA is not the same.
Yeah.
And that is where we make the mistake.
Absolutely.
And I like this woman in the Bible, Nabal, I think the wife of, was he Abigail or something?
Yeah, yeah.
She told David, you know, my husband is like that. She knew, she understood her husband very well. And she loved him with all his foolishness. So at the end of the day, it's all about understanding. Because once you understand, then the conflict becomes so easy to sort them out. Yeah.
And I love what you said. Thinking is free.
Yes. Yeah. Nobody will charge you. If you think well and everybody else is thinking bad about your spouse, shauri yao.
Yes.
Yeah, nobody will charge you. Yeah, think until it becomes.
Think until it becomes.
Yes.
Preconceived ideas. And that's powerful wisdom. Thank you so much, Bishop. Well, we are in studio with Bishop David Malombe, and we're talking about conflict resolution in marriage. I see all of you here that are tuned and making contributions. We are totally appreciative of all of you here, all the pastors here, including Apostle David Juma is watching, Pastor Solomon Denge, Pastor Peter Mutui, Kipkoril Victor, Odhiambo Metrin, Masi Akumu. We truly appreciate all of you that are here. Is it Silob John Kutai? God bless you. Moses Okoth, God bless you. This is a powerful conversation, and we are not stopping now. We have another session that we're going to be coming back to you. Please keep it locked. Do not go anywhere, and share this with your friends. We will see you in a minute.
Men of worship, it's time to gather. Life Church International presents the Gathering of Men Conference and March Convocation from Wednesday 5th March to Sunday 9th March 2025. The theme is Isaiah 37 verse 31, shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. The guest minister is Bishop Dr. Charles Kwake from JCC Mombasa, hosted by Apostle David and Pastor Sunte Juma. This meeting will be taking place at the Apostolic House, Kenya Cinema Plaza, along Moi Avenue. Men, rise up, take root, and bear fruit. Be there, be transformed.
welcome back. We are back with Bishop David Malombe, and we are having this amazing conversation on the conflict resolution in marriage. Thank you so much for your tuning in. I love the power punch statements that you are making, that you should not sacrifice your marriage at the altar of success. Bishop,
Yeah,
powerful wisdom.
I'm telling you.
Powerful wisdom.
You know, one time, Pastor, I was listening to one of the men of God I love.
Yes.
I really love. And he said something that touched my heart. He said one time he was invited to preach in a big meeting, and they had disagreed with the wife so badly. So as he walked out of the house to go and preach, dressed and ready to go and preach, the Holy Spirit asked him, where are you going to solve other people's problem, and you are leaving your home with a problem? And he stood at the door and asked himself, where am I going? If I cannot solve my problem, my family problem, how will I go and solve other people's problem?
Yes.
He went back in the house, removed the clothes, changed. The wife was asking him, what happened? You are going for a mission. He said, I'm not going there until we sort out this. And I looked at it and I said, what a revelation. You know, there are many of us that we take it so lightly, marriage.
Yeah.
But when I look at it, one of the main reasons of marriage is this, to show the relationship of Christ and the church.
That's powerful.
And how we live towards one another determines how heaven is saying about us. And that is why I believe what the qualification of a bishop, of an elder, is you must keep your family well.
Yes.
You know, and one way of keeping your family well is your ability to resolve conflict. Yeah. Conflicts, they don't come to destroy us, but they come to make us stronger.
Yes.
If you look at it from that dimension, that this conflict is making me to know my partner better, then you'll be excited. You'll be excited. You look at it, this disagreement, I did this, she didn't like it, because we are here together forever, till death do us part. Then I'm able to know how to deal with you, because when conflict is resolved, then it brings more emotional attachment to one another.
Yeah.
You are able to love, you are able to be more intimate, more. But when there are conflicts, you are not able to. You go home, you're wondering, will we sleep together, or should I remain in the sitting room until I find her asleep, or vice versa, you know, because conflicts can either be detrimental or they can be very healthy in a marriage.
Yeah, and it's true, Bishop. There are many people, many men, who are going to their homes late.
Yeah.
At midnight. And they're waking up very early in the morning, not because they love their jobs,
Yeah.
but it's because they have a terrible marriage.
Yeah.
And there are so many marriages like that, and this conversation is so important to help people understand the value in developing conflict resolution skills.
Yeah.
So you told us that we must be open,
Yeah.
that we need to embrace good communication. We must be careful about what we think or how we think about our spouses.
Yeah.
Is there one more? Because of course they can follow up later in other resources center.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just trying to provoke the conversation. One more wisdom on how to resolve conflict.
Don't be defensive. One of the major issues is when your ego, you feel like your ego is being interfered with.
Okay.
And there are many people, anytime you raise an issue, the first thing is to bring up a defensive mechanism. As we said, your spouse is not your opponent.
Yes.
You have to put it in your mind that the man or the lady who is bringing up this issue is bringing it up for good, not for bad.
Okay.
We have been traditionally made all the time when somebody sees something to be corrected, as if it's becoming too much. And you find some people saying, that is how I am. If you cannot catch up with me, shauri yako. You know? And that careless attitude towards the need of your spouse can become destructive in that marriage. And it can hinder conflict resolution. Because there are people who they have no time. They are defensive. So and so, you will hear some people saying, how come so and so understands me more than you? That so and so is not her.
It's not
him. You know, when I got married, I used to make some really serious jokes. I still do jokes, and everybody could laugh and be excited about it. And my wife, those days she was just I was just courting her. But later when we got married, she could hear me making those jokes. I could look at everybody is laughing, but my wife is not laughing.
Yeah.
So later she would tell me, I don't like those jokes.
Yeah.
I don't like, they are not good. And I looked at it and I wondered, how comes all my friends could not tell me that these jokes are not good? I discovered there's something with my wife she's concerned with. She's part of me. So anything that is not right, she will look at it, and it is my responsibility to see her from her position that she is thinking well of me. These other guys, they are just laughing and saying, kamjinga kai, and these are a fool. I mean, the way he's talking and what have you. And me, I cannot understand it. I'm thinking I'm just entertaining them. But now somebody who is very part of me is so much concerned with my fame, my name. So everything she's bringing up is for the betterment of my marriage. And if you're going to solve conflicts, don't be defensive. Listen, even if it looks foolish, even if it looks childish.
That's powerful.
Make sure that you don't stand and start saying, you don't understand, you need to understand.
Yeah.
It is not for her or for him to understand. It's for you, both of you, to understand the whole scenario. Understand where she's coming from, understand where he's coming from. Come to a place. And that is why we usually say in conflict resolution, it has to be a win-win situation. It is not, I have made it. If it were not for me, you will not be where he is. If it were not for me, she will not be what she is. I have made her to be what she is. No, it is you. It is your advantage. That is why Paul is writing and saying, now men do not live for themselves, they live for their wives, and vice versa. So at the end of the day, whatever happens in that marriage, it is the work of both of you. So one of the things you must avoid when you are dealing with conflict resolution, don't be defensive.
Don't be defensive.
Yeah, accept the situation. Accept that put yourself in her shoes. I discovered in this life of marriage, if you decide to walk by yourself, you will never go far. You must walk together with your partner. Accept that what is hurting her is hurting her. It's not you. It's her. It's not, it is not you, it is him. So put yourself and say, if it is affecting her, then it's affecting me. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. Now, Bishop, I know we cannot cover the whole concept of conflict resolution. It's a huge topic, but let's look at the other perspective that I thought it would be important for us to interrogate. How not to resolve conflict? How not? Because out there are people doing all kinds of things and thinking they are resolving conflict. What are some of those things we can say, if you did this, and if you're doing this, and you're doing this, this is not the way to resolve conflict?
There are many times people like to say, you know, I have to have people around me. So you find somebody has taken his or her family out there. You go and expose your wife out there. You go and expose your husband out there. You begin to discuss some things with your ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend about your partner. The more you begin to go that way, you begin to go to a way of more destruction. Because any issue that comes up in your marriage, it's not for the public consumption. It is your own agenda issue. There are many people who have destroyed very good marriages because whatever happened or at home, they went and stood in the pulpit and they began to preach it. You preach your partner, and she is not a fool. She will listen. Vile umesoma mistari
Ni yeye unalenga.
ni yeye unalenga. And in the evening you want to go and continue the discussion. And you want to tell somebody, you didn't hear what the Lord was saying in the pulpit. It was not the Lord, it is you who was trying to correct him in the pulpit. And people are watching.
The topic of the sermon is a stiff-necked people.
Yes. Very arrogant. She's so arrogant. She likes to sit on men.
Yes.
I cannot be sat on. Hawezi akanikalia. Mwanamke anikalie mimi mwanaume. You
Oh
see?
my goodness.
So we destroy our marriages by making our conflicts and our differences in public.
Okay.
Yeah, that is one of the ways I have seen, all with your relatives. You take a whole issue of what happened in the home to your father, to your mother, you begin to discuss your wife. You begin to discuss your husband until the husband feels like, I'm not worthy. Even if I made this mistake, it was between me and you, you know? So the moment you begin to expose your partner outside there, you are not solving the conflict. You are making them to be more worse in your life.
That's powerful. Maybe even as we talk about that, is there a moment in your conflict resolution where you can actually involve a third party, and what kind of third party should you involve?
Apostle, we have talked many times, and people always say a third party helps. But out of my own survey, I've discovered many times a third party is not so much necessary, because at the end of the day, most of times the third party becomes like a benchmark.
Okay.
Whereby this person doesn't want to understand the partner, but he wants this third party to endorse what he believes.
Okay.
You know, so that what happens is, if you go to such, it's like judgment, you are trying to judge. You know, conflicts, Apostle, it is sincerely, this person wants understanding. This person wants to know, what can I do? And the best way is when you sit down, two of you, and swallow your pride and be able to listen to what he's saying. And the spirit behind it is not just listening, is listening to what he's saying. This thing hurting. It may be, generally, if you take it to a person to judge, he may say, you are not supposed to be hurt by that.
Yeah.
Because that is what we shall do. We sit down with the people, and we sit down, we tell them, this one is not right. So at the end of the day, the partner feels those guys are supporting you.
Okay.
So after that meeting, and I'm telling you out of experience, after that meeting, the person who was called as a counselor becomes an enemy of one of the partners.
Okay.
Because you didn't support what she wanted you to support, or what he wanted you to support. So I always believe the two of you, if you can be serious with the study, you whatever, and if you go to a place, you ask things generally, not as judgment, not as somebody to come in. Because if somebody is to come in, it must be a very serious issue. But most of the issues, they can be sorted out between two of you, because you are able to understand one another. You are able to know, I was hurt. At the end of the day, both of you should be in a win-win mode, whereby you are telling yourself, I need to understand my spouse. Whatever he did to me, it was not intentional. He never did it to hurt me. But because I was hurt, I need to explain to him that I was hurt so that he doesn't repeat it. But at the end of the day, he never did it intentional. And because he's not an angel, I need to tell him. Now, he needs to understand that it is because of your background, where you are coming from. You are just trying to be open to him, so that at the end of the day you can sort it out. And most of the conflicts that are taken to people, look at it, you'll find many times they do not mount up to a positive solution.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Because if the two of you, they can only resort to a good solution so long as you believe the counselors are not out to side with somebody. So if the two of you can believe that the man we are calling, ama the lady we are calling to intervene in this situation is not biased, then you can be able to solve the conflict.
Wow.
But many of the conflicts can be sorted by two of you if you have an understanding.
Wow, powerful wisdom. So build capacity for conflict resolution.
Yes.
And if you are ever to involve a third party, a counselor, a pastor,
Yes.
it must be as a last resort.
Yes.
So build capacity.
Yeah, build capacity.
Wow, wow.
I usually tell people when you are getting married, before you say I do, you should always prepare for the worst, but expect the best.
Prepare for the worst, but expect the best.
Yeah.
That's wisdom.
Every time you believe your partner
Yes.
will never wrong you, you are wrong. Yeah. Every time you believe my partner will never do anything to hurt me,
You're wrong.
then you are wrong. Prepare yourself that this is a human being.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And be ready. Equip yourself with all the tools that are required to solve any conflict that comes on your way. Because there is nothing on earth that cannot be solved.
Powerful. So one way that you don't resolve conflict is to involve the public. And involving the public here, you mentioned relatives and people that are not part of the whole thing. Is there another way that someone would think I'm resolving the conflict, but they're actually not?
Is silence.
Okay.
Every time you keep quiet over an issue is not the best way to solve the problem. And there are so many people who have been hurt by issues that they could have sorted if they spoke out. The moment, they usually say a closed mouth is a closed destiny.
Yeah.
You know, so every time you are silent, you are hurting. Things were said. One of the things I really love my wife is she is herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife, anytime she will tell me that one. Even before my children, when we are with our children, if my children does something that is not right, she will say, me, I don't like it. You know, and she will openly say that. And that makes me to feel proud, because at the end of the day, the next time, I will know what to say and where to say.
We're giving a shout out to Reverend Anne Malombe. Keep it real.
Yeah, keep it real.
Yes.
In other words, you have to open up your mouth.
Yeah.
Don't just be quiet there and saying, you know, if I tell my husband, he would start thinking I'm suspecting him. It's better for him to know that. Maybe by saying, opening your mouth and saying, the way you greeted so and so, I didn't like it. The way you laughed so much, I didn't like it. It's better to open up.
Yeah.
You know, so that next time you know whether you laugh utacheka na that friend of yours, how you'll behave in her presence. Yeah. But I believe at the end of the day, silence can be a killer. Yeah.
In the context of marriage.
In the context of marriage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So whether
silence.
you are sanguine
Or melancholy.
or melancholy, when it comes to marriage, there is nothing like that. You need to open up.
Or phlegmatic.
Yeah. Don't be silent. Yeah. After the Bible says, I shall not keep silent. You know? So don't be silent. Talk. And do you know, Apostle?
Yes.
There are marriages that are doing very well because people talk.
Wow.
One time I was listening to one of the great men of God, and he was saying, if they are too open in their marriage to the point of he can go and tell the wife, that praise and worship lady attracted me, Niombe. You know, I'm not saying you do that. I'm just saying where some people have reached as far as openness is concerned.
Inaitwa disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
There are people, if you tell that, the marriage is over.
Because you think that. Do you know, I discovered it's just what you think.
Yes.
You think that.
Yeah.
You know, practice makes perfect. When we begin to become open, and that is why I said some of these things are more applicable to new marriages.
Yes.
Marriages.
Yes.
Because the old marriage is when you say that, somebody will ask you, how long has this been? How long have you been feeling like this? You know?
Yes.
Yeah. So there are things that, of course, at the end of the day, the wisdom will dictate to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the wisdom will dictate.
And also the
to you.
levels of maturity.
And the levels of maturity.
Brilliant. Wow, that's amazing. We are in studio with Bishop David Malombe, and we're talking about conflict resolution in marriage. Powerful insights coming through, and I see all of you here. Of course, your wife has been watching and she loves what you said about her. Reverend Anne, we salute you. And then there's Anne Guda Paul saying, to resolve conflict, don't be defensive. Conflict resolution is a win-win situation. Those are powerful statements right there that came through, and we thank God for that. All right, Bishop, how does one tell that a conflict has been resolved?
That's a very good question. You see, we always say, just like capital is the essential commodity for business. If you don't want somebody to do business, withdraw capital from him, money from him.
Yes.
Communication, too, is the essential commodity for relationship.
Yes.
Where there is no communication, there is no relationship.
That's powerful.
You see, what has made us to become close, Apostle, is because we talk. If we don't talk, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, there are many things about you I will never know.
Yes.
Marriage conflicts, to understand that you really have sorted marriage conflicts, one way is communication.
Communication is thriving.
Your lines of communication must be open. Okay? Your tone, your attitude, the way you are relating will tell you. You do not need to really study until PhD level to understand that some issues have been sorted out. The way reaction, the intimacy.
Yeah.
You see, there are things I have discovered. You know that an issue has ended by the way the partner reacts on it. And that is why resolving resolution should never be taken lightly. I was not done with the way you should not solve conflict.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
And one of it is,
Yeah.
you should never take any issue that your partner brings up as a conflict lightly.
Okay.
You know, so the seriousness you undertake in any conflict solution determines how easy to resolve it.
Yes.
There are people who think they have resolved conflicts, but they haven't, because the way they behaved, okay, is only that. Oh, then I'm sorry. Let's forget about it. Let's not discuss about it. There are people who really get worked up. When somebody brings up an issue, they get worked up. Let's forget about it. You have not understood what the person is saying, but you pretend you have understood. There are people, you tell them, you know, this is the situation, this is the circumstances, this is what happened.
Yeah.
Somebody will always say, what is wrong with you? Niyo too. Okay, I will not do it again. Anything else? You know, taking lightly the issues that concerns your partner
Yeah.
can make that resolution never concluded.
Yeah.
So the closure of any conflict is the reaction from your partner, the way he reacts. You must always go all the way, because if your concern is your partner, you'd wish all the best about him. And whatever hurts him, whatever concerns him, you would take time, you discuss it.
Yeah.
And so you saw the way I behaved, it was not good. The way I greeted her, okay. What do you think? Okay, I'm very sorry, my dear. I never intended to do it to hurt you. I'm sorry about it, and give me more opportunity. I know this will be over. And then the next time, you don't need to be sensitive. You just need to be wise. Yeah. You don't need to be too sensitive, because when you become too sensitive, then the issue has not been sorted out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That you should not take lightly or dismiss the concerns of your partner.
Yes.
And the moment you do that, that's a way of not resolving the conflict.
Yeah.
And then there's a powerful statement you've made that kept me thinking. The essential commodity of any marriage is communication.
Yeah.
Communication. Without the absence of that communication demonstrates that there is still tension in the marriage
Yeah.
and something has not been resolved.
Mm.
So you know something has been resolved when there is good communication.
Good health.
Healthy
Health
communication.
Yeah.
Wow, brilliant. Any other thing that you think you would tell this thing has been resolved? Because I know our time is almost up and I want to make sure we capture a little bit of snippet here and there.
Yeah. The other way is intimacy.
Yes.
And the reaction over the everything. Because you see, what usually happens is when there are conflicts, even the intimacy
is affected.
is affected.
Yes.
The way you relate with your spouse, the way you talk to him, the way, and it's like communication. It goes to 0 point.
Yes.
So to know that the conflict have been solved is the reaction, the intimacy,
Yes.
the communication. You begin to find yourself, you are enjoying to be together with your partner.
Yeah.
Because that is very key.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, never leave issues hanging. Never leave them hanging.
Wow.
If you want to live a good life, enjoy marriage, you must make sure whatever it is, it doesn't matter how small it is, but also don't be nagging. You know, there's a way you can push something so that at the end of the day, it is not solving the problem. It is just overlooking it.
Yeah.
I believe at the end of the day, the first and foremost way of solving a conflict is your ability to understand the conflict.
Wow.
There are many people who do not understand where is this person coming from?
Yeah.
Why is this person behaving the way he's behaving? Why is he affected by the things that are affecting him and they are not affecting me? Why is he raising up the issues? Because some of the conflicts will require you to bring that person to the understanding, to the place where you are.
Absolutely.
It may not need you to change, it may need the person with the conflict to change. And your responsibility to solve that problem is to make sure that he understands and he changes, he comes where you are. It is unwise and unfair that many times, we just, an issue is an issue and is a weakness of your partner. And instead of solving it, you just change. While it is your partner who was supposed to change. And your responsibility was to help your partner to change so that he can understand and he can come in the same position. Because marriage is being the ability to work together.
Yes.
And solving a conflict is when you are able to work together with no issue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bishop, I totally appreciate every word of wisdom and counsel that is coming from you. And unfortunately, we are out of time.
Yeah.
And we can always have these conversations. And I know I really appreciate that you came, sir. Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much for sharing
Yeah.
that powerful insight. Ladies and gentlemen, we were talking about conflict resolution. There's so many things Bishop has said that you need to listen to again and again and again to internalize and to understand. I have been your host, Apostle John Wesley. Thank you for always tuning in every Friday morning for these powerful conversations. Remember, go to church this coming Sunday and say hi to your pastor. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Amen. Wow.